says, now the angel of the Lord came to Gideon, who threshed wheat in a winepress in order to hide it from the Midianites. The Midianites were like threats, like gangsters. They were just coming and they were just trying to take everything from him all the time. And the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon and said to him, the Lord is with you, you mighty man of valor. I'm sure some of you have already heard that. The Lord is with you. Now that didn't make any sense to Gideon, because the last thing he was in his own family, in his own immediate family, he was the last on the totem pole. He was not only the youngest, he was the most unqualified in his own family. And Gideon said in verse 13 to him, oh my Lord, if the Lord is with us, then why has all this happened to us? And where are all of his miracles? Verse 14, then the Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours, and you shall save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent you? Now he's thinking like, what? Wait a minute, what's going on? So he's surprised. Say surprise. So he's surprised because God is saying, like, you're saying I'm mighty? There's no might in me. I know me. I looked in the mirror this morning. There's nothing there but skin and bones. There's nothing there but torn rags. There's nothing there but poverty. I'll prove this to you. He goes, and then verse 15, should be the last verse, but it goes on to say, so he, referring to Gideon, said to him, oh my Lord, how can I save Israel? It'd be like you say, God, how can I make a difference in this generation? How can I make a difference in America? How can I make a difference in Hawaii? How can I make a difference in my school? How can I make a difference in my university? How can I make a difference in my job? How can I make a difference wherever it is that I am? How can I make a difference? Who am I? I don't feel mighty. I don't look mighty. I don't look the part. I don't have muscles. Whatever it is that you think. I don't have the education. They do. I don't. Many of them that do never follow him. Many of the qualified think they're too qualified. And it says here, oh my Lord, how can I save Israel? Indeed, my clan. Now listen to this. I want you to hear this because I'm talking to somebody here. Meaning clan, meaning family. My family is the weakest in Manasseh. Manasseh was like a territory, a big territory with thousands of people. He says, in our neighborhood, we are the worst. In our neighborhood, the dysfunction is the greatest. In our neighborhood, mom and dad, they go at it every night. Dad comes home as an alcoholic. The list goes on and on and on and on. In my neighborhood, and then he says, indeed, my clan is the weakest. Because that word weak means the poorest, the feeblest, the most. Everyone spurns this family. Everyone looks down on this family. You're from that family. Don't even come near me. I don't want to know you. And then he goes on to say, and I am the least in my father's house. So in my father's house with all my brothers and sisters, I am at the bottom of the totem pole. But it's not just small in terms of age. It's probably the one lacking most talent, the one having minimal gifting, I don't know what you'd call it, the one most deficient, the one he feels inadequate. He feels insufficient. He feels, barren. My brothers have this. My siblings have that. I have nothing. At least they have something in this poor house of ours. I have nothing. He was the most unqualified, the most untalented, the most ungifted. He's been, up to this point in his life, he's been the most unfruitful, unproductive in his life. You might know a person like that. And the Lord looked at him, didn't even respond. And the Lord said to him, surely I will be with you, and I shall defeat the Midianites as one man. Now that just seems completely impossible. Right now, some of you are thinking, when I said your schools, you're thinking like, there's thousands of people in my school. Right now, you're thinking on my job, there's thousands of people or hundreds of people where I work. My neighborhood, there's hundreds of people in my neighborhood. The odds doesn't even make sense to you. But notice what it says. And the Lord said to him, surely I will be with you, and surely you shall defeat, it didn't say I, it said you shall defeat the Midianites as one man. Because when you team up with God and the God factor gets involved with you, you become one with him. You become the controlling factor. You become the God factor on the inside of you. So it's a long story. Gideon only had to do two things to qualify him. The first thing he said to Gideon, hey, listen, your father has been a worshiper of demons. Just put it there. And you have to take a stand. Show me you're going to take a stand. Not against your family, but just show me you're going to take a stand. So he did. He took a stand. Say, take a stand. Tell your neighbor, take a stand. And God told him to tear down the idols. See, if you have idols in your life, God says, tear it down. If you want me to do something great in your life, tear it down. Root it up, get rid of it. Get rid of the gods that you have. Get rid of meaning the little gods, yourself, someone else, flesh and blood. What is it, money? I don't know, whatever it is. It could be so many things. He says, tear it down. So he did. The second thing, it's not going to make sense to you. He says, and I want you to blow the trumpet. Second thing Gideon did, God said, you're going to blow the trumpet. Now, let me tell you what a trumpet is. Trumpet, it's an instrument. Yeah, I get that. But it's a sound. Say sound. He says to him, I want you to be a new sound wherever I put you. You're going to be a new sound. You're going to have a new sound. Because this is not going to be a natural sound. It might look like a natural trumpet. You might look like a natural person. You might look like an everyday person. But I'm going to put inside of you, if you'll trust me, a new sound. I'm going to speak through your lips. People are going to be able to see something's different. There's a new language that's going to come out of you. And it's important because God was asking Gideon to be his new sound. Gideon, he's saying to him, in one sense, I'm going to put my blessing on your life and you are going to sound different to other people. I am going to do what you cannot do. When my angel got here, Gideon, you were speaking fear and doubt and self-worth and insignificance, and maybe you were thinking on taking your life. Maybe you're thinking on giving up on life, this and the other. I'm going to touch you and I am going to give you a new sound. I am going to change the way you see yourself. I'm going to change the way others see you. I do that, Gideon. You can't. I do. I do things like that, Gideon. I touch people's lives. I change them from the inside out. I give them a new sound. And so that's what that trumpet means. He says, and your voice will be backed by my Holy Spirit. And again, it's not just noise. It's not just a sound. It's not just us coming like, ah! Nothing wrong with that. Love a good shout. And then basically what God says, watch what I do with this new sound. And so he takes the trumpet. Probably not that. Probably a lot better than that. I should have had a sound effect. Ah. Anyways, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon. Did you know before you leave tonight, the Spirit of the Lord can come upon you? Then Gideon blew the trumpet, and the Abiezrites gathered. That means the other people that are in Gideon's camp. Gathered behind him. And Gideon sent messengers throughout Manasseh, who also gathered behind him to meet Gideon. So he blew this trumpet, and all of a sudden, everybody started recognizing this sound. And they started gathering. He started compelling people. And you know how many showed up? 32,000. And 32,000 people showed up, but not 32,000 were 100% in. You know, a lot of people come as looky-loos. A lot of people come as, I want you to check it out, but I ain't going to commit to nothing, because, I got to watch my back, And so they go down to that. And then God said, well, you know what? They're full of fear anyway. Get rid of them. And so he's left with 10,000. And then God said, no. Let me show you something, Gideon. He says, see that pool over there? Have everyone go over there and drink water from that pool. Well, a lot of them got down on all their fours and they started drinking up the water. They were thirsty. Started drinking up the water, put their face in the water. They just started drinking. But then there was others who began, because there's something inside of them. And they got near the water and they began to lap up the water. And they were always looking around and they were drinking like this. They're always looking. Those are people that are alert, awake. They don't take their eyes off life. They understand what's going around them. They realize that God's about ready to raise up an army. They realize that God's about ready to do something. They just don't know when he's going to do it. They don't know when he's going to do it, so they're just... And God said, okay, you know those 9,700? Send them home packing. Hasta la bye-bye. And so they're gone. So all that's left is 300 plus 1. What a great title. I'm probably the only one who's saying that, but it's okay. And so God selects. He has 300 plus 1. Gideon, and I'm going to close it right here. Real quick, and one of these days, maybe sometime soon, you can go back and read this from Judges chapter 6 and 7 and 8, and that will tell you the entire story. You can read it with all the juicy details. There are 5 things that God used to raise up this room. There's 300 remnant. It's not only 300 plus 1, but it's 300 remnant. 300 that had a loyal heart. 300 that had a focus. 300 that they didn't even know that they were being called. They didn't probably have the skills that some of those others. They certainly didn't have the money bags. They didn't have the titles. They didn't have this. They didn't have the fields. They didn't have nothing. We don't know who they were. They're unnamed. A lot of you right now in this room, if not all of you, are unnamed. Nobody really knows you. You shouldn't care about it. Quit trying to make yourself famous on Facebook or on Instagram. You take so many pictures of yourself. I mean, so many pictures of yourself. I mean, how many angles do you want to take of yourself? You better start shooting from the back of your head because nothing's interesting anymore. Tell your neighbor, say, it's okay, it's going to be okay. So what ends up happening is God gave this remnant that he wants to give you tonight. Through Branson, through Coley, the leadership, but this is what he gave. Number one, he gave them a vision. One thing that God gave them is a vision. See, there was a vision. You know what the vision was? The vision was, and they already knew it by this time, is to change a generation, to defeat the Midianites, to come against darkness. And now they're thinking like 32,000, we might have had an opportunity. 10,000, I don't know, that's stretching it. But 300, there's no way. Well, there is no way until you factor in the God factor. And this is what God wants you to know. It's not how many you have around you, it's who you have in you.